The corporation Kazakhmys began the process of leasing out some of its subordinate companies, outraging employees in the process. Meanwhile, specialists say that the workers have likely become hostages of the general political situation.
The exclusion of non-core companies from Corporation Kazakhmys has hit its workers. The railway network, car fleet and food production facility have all been optimized already. At the same time, the merger of copper smelter and mines is currently underway, while some of the companies were leased to the Russians. The chairman of the Stroyny Trud trade union, Valery Chaika, believes that the enterprise's fragmentation will lead to workers losing more than just a part of their salaries.
Some auxiliary enterprises outsourcing is one thing, but when there is a major company's outsourcing, it is a very bad signal. This is just a subtle hint that they will soon shrink responsibility.
Railcar repairman at Zhezkazgan network Azamat Akhmedjanov was fined for negligence but found out about it only on payday. According to him, people started breaching their contracts and the labor court after Kazakhmys Corporation leased out its railway network. The confrontation grew between the new leadership and the team, as demands to withdraw the order and raise salaries were ignored.
Recently, CEO Alexeyeva came from Almaty, likely due to the letter which we sent to Nur-Otan, prosecutor's office and the state labor inspection. She didn't say anything specific, but promised that if the corporation will have the money, the wages will be raised by 20%.
The corporation does not comment on the situation, and so far it is unknown on what terms Kazakhmys leases companies for outsourcing. A common practice in Europe is when contractor is legally independent from his host company. Only in this case, status of workers can be clearly defined in the collective agreement. Meanwhile, observers link the corporation's exclusion of non-core assets to the 2-year-old request the head of state made to the government, asking it to begin managing stocks of mining and metallurgical companies. Perhaps the recent activity of Kazakhmys is the indication that the corporation's nationalization is sooner than many think.
In the near future, the high mountain skating rink Medeu could become a theme park, reported the facility's leadership on Tuesday. The skating season will be closed next week and the field will be reconstructed to suit summer sports.
The facility was closed due to the disassembly of the skating rink. New refrigerating equipment for the ice cover was purchased on the eve of 2011 Asian Winter Games. According to Medeu's leadership, the installation and all necessary tests will take about 3 months to complete. During this time, an extra substation will be built at the cost of $17 million. In addition to sports fields, a new system of catering and hotel services will be set up. More than $54.5 million were allocated for the reconstruction of the skating rink's infrastructure. Considering the fact that Medeu is a municipal property of Almaty, we hope that in the future major competitions will be held here and the facility will not be unprofitable as in the past, instead bringing some profit to the city.
On Tuesday, during the meeting of Nur-Otan's faction, Prime Minister Karim Masimov promised to provide Kazakh farmers with cheap fuel in time for the spring sowing campaign. This, in addition to other promises, provoked some rather sharp questions asked by the party members.
During the meeting of Nur-Otan's parliamentary faction, Prime Minister Masimov promised to provide farmers with cheap diesel fuel. He used the opportunity to approve the draft of the revised budget for 2010.
Nur-Otan's help is important for the distribution of this cheap fuel and lubricants so that it can reach farmers during the sowing campaign.
The Premier could not avoid discussing some burning issues. One emotional senator talked about the problem of uncollected grain. Out of 5 million tons of grain in Akmola region, its administration was able to sell only 20%. The rest is rotting away as there is simply nowhere to store it. Kazakh farmers still face the question whether to store grain in the future. The senator was also outraged that there is no clear quality control over the spending of the budgetary assets. So much money came from the Agriculture and Production Cooperative and Samruk Kazina, but we do not know about this impact. Instead of increasing external control, we increased the internal one. You said it yourself that the main burden was felt locally through financial control, and so we got rid of them. But who will control it now?
Are you a party member? Here's what I propose. Let's ask the party to control this issue in your area. Perhaps even you should do it personally.
The absolute majority in both chambers of Kazakh parliament is filled by the ruling Nur-Otan party representatives. On Tuesday, its parliamentary faction approved the revisions of the state budget for 2010, including the increase of the budget deficit to $5.5 billion. This means the forthcoming joint meeting of the Parliament and Senate to review the budget will be simply a procedural formality, and the document will be soon passed to the President for the final approval.
These were the latest updates from Kazakhstan. Thank you for being with us and goodbye.